What is up, YouTube fam? Robbie C here. Today we are at Dynamic Discs Iron City and we are running a little poll because there's a company out there called Gateway Disc Sports, and Gateway has been around for quite some time inside of the game, and they have a very iconic putter that if you've been around disc golf for really any amount of time, you might have heard about, and it's called the Wizard, Harry. So minus the Harry, but yeah, the Wizard, super iconic disc. And today we're going to talk about the plastic blends that come with Gateway because last we checked, there are a lot of them. So we're going to take some time diving into the plastic types so that if you're interested in getting into Gateway, you can check out these different plastics. But we also don't want to just have my opinions and the facts about them. We want to poll the people and see what they think. So we're posted up here inside the store. We're going to leave this set up for a couple days to try to get some votes on what plastics people think are the best. That way you can kind of see there are a lot of options out there. Before we dive in, gotta ask, Russ, how are you doing today? You having a good one?
So catch me if I fall.
So let's talk about the Wizard. Give you a couple quick facts. The Wizard is a mold released by Gateway Discs January 9th, 2002. The Wizard gets released to the public, approved. What a great disc. Now, they did revise it in 2016, December 30th. They came back and revisited it. And something cool that's been happening over at the Gateway world is they've actually been reselling those retro Wizards. So you can somewhat see side by side, I'm gonna try to do my best here, but the retro Wizard has a little bit more of a shallower profile, which can make it fit a little easier in the hand. And if you wanna be a thrower of the Wizard, that shallower profile works really, really well because I know a lot of people can really get hung up on super deep options. And so the Wizard, the revised Wizard, or the current Wizard actually has like a good bit of depth to it, which as someone with really large hands, I really enjoy. Now, I've been putting with Wizards now for a little over a month, and I've really been enjoying them. But for me, landing on a plastic has been super tough because there are so many options with Gateway. And when I got on the phone with them, which first off, what a phenomenal company to work with. They're super willing to answer the phone. They're super willing to talk about what they do, and they'll easily do custom stuff, which makes them honestly just a pleasure to work with. With new disc golf companies seeming to pop up every single day, it happens. I mean, heck, Temu has disc golf discs that you can buy out there now. So someone may feel something like an ESP and be like, oh, you know, this feels good, but I wish it was a little tackier. And you can go to another company and try to find it, or even people will put additives into this. But Dave McCormack has a huge IQ when it comes to just disc golf knowledge and really knowledge in general. For a lack of a better term, he's a bit of a wizard when it comes to cooking up new ideas, and he can think about how to combine certain pieces and add certain additives to different plastics to give it a variety of hand feels as well as a shot shaping capability, which can be part of the reason why there are so many different plastic options when it comes to Gateway. But before we dive in, I want to showcase what we've got going for the test setup for folks so that way you understand what's happening with that, because it's going to be worked into the different types of plastics that we talk about here today. So what we've got here are 15 different putters out here available. They're all Wizards. Some are retro Wizards, some are the modern Wizard. A lot of different options here, but we've got plastics ranging from the 2S to the 4S, the super stupid, silly soft. You have Fossil, you've got Glow 2S, or no, Glow Money Blend, Eraser, Firm, Triple S. So many different plastic type options here. And what we're gonna do is have people come to the table and feel the different plastic types and kind of pick their top 3 plastic type options. And I think you're gonna see that there's not like one just standout winner that usually stands above the rest, because it truly does come down to preference, because we all like different putters for different reasons. So covering the first one that's not on the table, this is the Diamond plastic. Diamond is much more of their premium plastic, has more of like a star plastic feel for comparison. Extremely durable, but definitely a premium plastic feel. Now, if you like that durable feel, next up is gonna be Nylon, which actually has nylon worked into it. So while in the hand feel, it can actually feel almost like a bit of a gummier plastic. You can see that it's given a little bit of give to it. Because it has that nylon worked into it as one of their base plastics, it's probably the most durable of the base plastics that they have out there. So if you want a base plastic feel, but a thrower that isn't necessarily gonna get super chunked by hitting cage and putting with it, or even when it hits trees, nylon could be absolutely the choice for you. Next up, we have their firm plastic. It's going to be denoted with an F, and per to this is why it's called a naked wizard, is because unlike the bottom of most of them, it actually doesn't have the tooling on the bottom that you might see on a traditional Gateway molded disc. Firm plastic is noted for having a firm rim and slight flex in the plate. One of the things I really like about their website especially is they talk about how flexible the disc gets under certain amounts of pressure, which is really nice. If you like a firm putter and you like a good thrower, firm could be awesome. This is probably, I wouldn't say after feeling a lot of them, I don't know that I would call this the firmest, or maybe it is the firmest, but this is going to be like the baseline in terms of the harder plastics that are base plastics, and we're going to go all the way to the other end where you'll see 4S that gets a whole lot more flexible. Next up, we have the Money Blend, which is going to be denoted by a $ on the rim. The Money Blend can kind of range from 2S all the way up to 4S, but because of the additive added in there, it's a little shinier on the surface, and the more it beats in, it gets a little gummier. This one is pretty used and well loved. You've seen Topanga in some videos so far, but it still has like a bit of firmness to it, but it has a little give to it, and that just comes from natural wear and tear. Also really fantastic in wet conditions because of the grippiness and gumminess that it provides.
I'm Jacob, and I've been playing about 6 months.
Okay, and then Gateway discs. If you had to rate yourself on your familiarity with Gateway, 1 being I've never heard of them, 10 being I'm one of their sales reps.
I would say 1.
Okay, perfect, perfect. So what we have on the table is we have 14 different wizards and 14 different plastics. So Gateway, one of the things they pride themselves on is customization. And so what we're going to have you do is I'm going to ask you to feel the wizards and tell me which 3 are your favorite.
Okay. Sort of like the more firm. It feels more stable in my hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that one's pretty flexible.
Yeah,
I'm a
it's
huge
much
fan
more
of
of a rubber blend.
This one almost feels too hard.
Too hard, okay, yeah.
It's a little more flexible than I like.
That's a nice like middle ground
I was
there.
about to say I like it because it's not as flexible, but it's not nearly as like.
Yeah,
like,
still got that grip and that tack to it.
Absolutely, yep. I'd say I like that one.
Okay.
That one.
Yep.
And
I'll say that was the one that had some give to it.
I'd say this one,
Okay.
that one, and that one.
Awesome, awesome. So that's Special Blend, Fossil, and I think this is the SS. Nice. Glow is another fantastic option. This is a glow firm, so you're going to see where a lot of the Gateway plastics, because they have so many options, a lot of times they'll mix glow in, and mixing the glow in can have a multitude of like variables to it. I think that the glow almost gives it like a little more firmness, at least from what I'm feeling. Gateway is going to be here responding in the comments to help out, but I think that the firmness you get from glow can be really nice, but I also think glow gives it a little extra grippiness as well, because if I even just compare this firm to the other firm, I feel like this one, the glow firm, actually has a bit more tack to it, which could be really nice, especially let's say you like a firmer putter but you want it to be a little tackier. This could be a great option for you. This plastic is called Pure White plastic, which is a step up from the firm plastic. Has some other additives in it. I'm not even going to try to like sound super sciencey and all this because that's just not who I am, but there are different additives that separate it from being just regular firm, but this has that tackiness to it. So if you don't like the glow, the Pure White could be a great option for you. I know this was, out of a lot of them that I tried, this was easily in my top 3 when it came to choosing plastic types. The Pure White feels really, really good. Obviously, the only drawback being that it comes in just white, and if you don't like putting with white putters, that could be a drawback to you because it can get muddy really fast, but thankfully they have other options. Another option is the not so pure white, which is the same pure white blend but with color mixed into it, and when you mix color in, that can have a variety of options depending on what color you mix in. If you mix in a black color, for instance, that's more of a rubbery material, which is going to give it that grip. This does not have that rubbery material in it, and so it feels really good. Even you're going to see one of the people here talk about that their preference was actually this over the pure white because it has a little more slickness to it. So not so pure white, if you like that stiff blend and you want it grippy but not too grippy, not so pure white could be a great option. Next up is fossil plastic, which comes from reptilian discs, and traditionally fossil plastic is used on the Wizard, turning it into the Lizard. This is the retro Wizard, so it's that thinner profile. This plastic is my personal plastic of preference. Comes out super flat, has that firmness to it. Got a grip somewhere between the not so pure white and the pure white. Absolutely love this, and I actually have been putting with it ever since we got them in the mail. Really enjoying it. It's kind of nice how easy it is to get this thing to float. Has a lot of pop, and that firmness is something I really like. I mean, you can just see I'm giving it a lot of pop, and it's just not like giving any give whatsoever, which is really wonderful.
My name's Alan, and I've been playing disc golf probably about a year now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so familiarity with Gateway on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you've never heard of Gateway Discs, and 10 being you are their sales rep.
Ooh, probably like 2 or 3. One thing that I found out about putters is that I like a beaded putter.
Okay. Well, these are all beaded. So
Yeah,
that's nice.
yeah, I was about to say, that's the first thing I noticed. I don't know about that one.
That is gummy. It's real gummy.
Okay. I like that.
Still a little gummy, but not.
Just a little bit. If I had to choose 3 that I liked,
Yeah.
would be this one.
Okay.
A little bit more rubbery.
Yeah.
But still pretty good.
For sure.
I like this one.
Let's say, was it that one, the tacky, or?
I think the tacky. Tacky probably be, yeah. I think these 3 would probably be the best ones for me.
Yeah. So we got triple S. I know the black one's triple S, and this is 2S. No, this is nylon,
Okay.
which is probably one of their most durable base plastics that they have because it literally has nylon mixed into it.
Nice.
And then this is their new Proto Glow. Tested it out for glow last night, and I mean, you light this thing up and it stays lit for like 3 holes.
Really?
It's crazy. Next up is SS, which is their super soft plastic. Super soft plastic comes with a variety of options. Starts off with a firm rim, but gives a little give inside of the flight plate. Lots of times this is like a special run that has this sort of stamp on top of it, but it doesn't necessarily always come with a stamp on top of it. Now, this one bends at easier pressure than the firm's gonna give, but it still has some durability that you can use on shots and things like that. If you like a softer putter, but you don't love like silly soft, this is a great alternative. I'd be willing to bet this is one of their most popular plastics that everything kind of branches off of. While firm is sort of the base layer, this is the next step up in terms of popularity. Here we have double S in glow plastic, which like we said, gives a little more tack, even not because there's not the decal on top of it, but just being able to feel this putter. It is so tacky, which is nice. And Gateway Glow, sneaky underrated, y'all. You charge it up, it may take a minute when you're using it, but once it gets that glow, it holds it for such a long time. I used a Glow Wizard last night, and it held it for literally 3 different holes, which is kind of crazy. A little more flexible, especially off the shelf. I mean, this one's brand new, and it still has a little bit of give, so you might want to think about that, but a really solid option, especially if you like a putter with a lot of grip. If I was playing a rain round, this would be a great option for me. Now, keeping the double S alive, this is double S with hemp mixed into it, which actually gives it a much more firm appearance. The hemp is a really cool alternative they do on the recycled side of things, and so by mixing the hemp into it, it actually, I think, gives a lot of sturdiness to it. So you can see that they probably are mixing hemp into even like a 4S or a 3S, or even, I would be so surprised, but like a firm hemp blend looks like. Really, really great option. This still has the grippiness of 2S, but it has a lot more, the flight plate feels a lot more firm that you would be expecting out of the firm plastic. Now, Eraser Blend plastic comes in at a different feel. With it is actually the 2S with one more run of regrind mixed into it. At least I think that's what Dave explained to me. So what I like about the Eraser Blends is that it sort of has like a smoothness to it that you don't get from the original 2S blends. And so this smoothness feels really good. I mean, this is obviously a used Eraser Wizard, and it still feels really good. Has a nice bit of rigidity to it. Feels pretty solid, which is pretty awesome. Before I found the Glow Firm, this is definitely what I was using in sort of a winter for that grip that I wanted.
My name is John, going on 4.5 years.
Okay, and in terms of your familiarity with Gateway Disc Sports, if you had to rank them, rank yourself as a 1 being never heard of it, 10 being you're a sales rep for them, where would you put yourself?
Well, I work in a disc golf store, so pretty strong. I'm going to go 8.
Okay, awesome.
When I first started disc golf, I don't know if it's just a beginner thing or what, but I always wanted as gummy and just soft as possible. And just over 4 years, progressed to firmer and firmer. So now, love it. Like, that has no give at all. Kind of slick, which is actually another problem I have, is the disc sticking to my fingers and overspinning. So, like, I've found here lately, like the slicker the disc is, it actually slides out in a straight line with where my arm's taking it. So
Yeah.
I like, that's high on the list right there. No. Even that, like that doesn't have a ton of give, but
Yeah, but
it's
it's
got
enough.
just enough that it's already in my head that it's like a soft putter, even though it really isn't. Too soft. Too grippy. Kind of grippy too. Nope. Yeah, it's here, here, and here.
Okay. Yeah. So that is another vote for Fossil, which is that one. The not so pure white is that one.
Which is pure white, that's not
which
white.
is pure white with color mixed in, which
Yeah.
gives it a different feel. And
It may be my favorite album because it has a little bit of, and once again, most people wouldn't like this, but it's got a little bit of a powdery feel to it, like fingers sliding.
yeah.
And for where I'm at right now, I kind of like that.
Yeah.
The regular pure white.
Yeah.
So, makes sense.
Next up, we have Special Blend. Now, Special Blend kind of can be sort of an all-encompassing umbrella that you may not expect because Special Blend, Gateway specializes in special blends, which is really cool because Cameron Messerschmidt, for example, wanted a certain blend of plastic that he was looking for, and as one of their sponsored players, they were able to run a special run of plastic for him. If you've got a local event or you've got a large event, things like that, they can do runs up to 200 discs of that custom plastic for you looking for it. So if you wanted to try out, like we talked about a little earlier, on like hemp firm, that option could be available to you. Gateway specializes in special blends. For instance, this one has like a 2S or 3S feel, but the grippiness is on another level. It almost reminds me of like the pure white or not so pure white extra tack on it, which is really, really great. So here we have Glow SS, and you may say, Mr. YouTube man, you already talked about Glow SS. We talked about Glow SS on the Retro Wizard. This is Glow SS on the Revamped Wizard. And so even one thing that I notice is just with that deeper profile, having it on the standard Wizard versus the Retro Wizard, that thinner flight plate, it actually makes this feel a little firmer because of the depth, because with a larger rim, it actually accents sort of the rigidity of this, which is awesome because let's say you have a plastic that's a little gummier, put it on the Retro Wizard and it's going to feel like it has a lot more give just because it's that thinner profile. Really, really great option here. Excited for this one. Next up, we have Triple S plastic, which Triple S plastic feels really good. Now, this has that black blend, which has the color mixed into it, so it's gonna feel a lot more rubbery. Triple S, we're starting to get to, you can see sort of the give to it. Now, one thing that Gateway wants to make sure people understand is that just because it has some give to it doesn't mean that it's necessarily like super flexible or anything like that. Like, it's gonna be just like super soft in the heat and things like that. You can have a putter that has some give to it, and you can have some firm putters that once you use them, it's going to be in to have this little bit of conditioning. But the Triple S plastic is a next step up in gumminess without feeling like it's like flopping in your hand. Like you can see, I'm trying to give this like a lot of, and it's still holding that shape pretty well. Really great option is the Triple S if you're much more of a softer profile person when it comes to your putter. Next up, we have the 4S blend, and 4S is super stupid, silly, soft. 4S, this is one of their Sure grips, and y'all, you can immediately tell this has a lot of give to it. So you'll hear one of our people who comes through and tests things out, and he mentioned that when he first got into putting, he really wanted that really soft plastic. Now, if I, as a push putter, soft plastic is tough because I can feel like when I'm driving my fingers into the putt and I'm really pushing my fingers, I feel like it has some give to it. But that doesn't mean this is a bad putter, because one nice thing about silly soft is when you putt with it, let's say you miss, most often it's going to give a little give, it's going to flop on the ground, it's going to stay right there. Firmer putters are more likely to roll away because they're going to hit, have that wobble, get up on their own, and roll away. So soft putter could definitely be an option for you, and there's nothing quite like 4S plastic when it gets out there, and especially in colder conditions, this thing is so grippy and it's going to firm up a little bit in those colder conditions. So if you find yourself living in those northern states or more Arctic conditions or Arctic areas to try to play, this 4S plastic could be absolutely perfect for you. Now, we talked about a lot of plastics here, and I feel like it can be overwhelming. Hopefully you stuck with us because, like I said, I mean, you just saw there is a ton of information when it comes to Gateway. And even as people have come through the shop and you've seen the data rolling, preference is everything. And that's one thing that's really cool about what Gateway's doing is they have a ton of mold options out there. Say you're not even a beaded fan, you don't love the Wizard because it has a bead on it, and you don't love the depth of the Wizard. You have the option of going to the Retro Wizard, which is a little more thinner profile. Or if you don't want the bead, there are other options out there. I think the Magic doesn't have the bead. So many different shapes and so many different putters, and because there are so many plastic options out there, if you have been struggling to find a putter, there is few companies out there that understand the science of what's going on behind the disc as much as the mind of David McCormack trying to lock in what they have going here at Gateway. I'm going to go ahead and address the obvious elephant in the room. Robbie, with all this hype, are you like signing with Team Gateway? Is that what you're doing? To which I'll go ahead and say, no, I'm not necessarily signing with Gateway by any means, but I love working with passionate people, and there's just no way that you can ever end up on a phone call with anyone who works at Gateway who isn't passionate about what they're doing. Why? Because they have so much customization options that they are eager and excited to work with people to give them what they're looking for. We've had people come in the shop today. That some have been like, I want a really firm putter, and other people prefer the softer blends. You can see that across the voting, across the board, which just goes to show there's really no right answer here. Now, if you stuck around this long, I'm going to go ahead and give you a little teaser. And that is that in partnering and like doing this video, one of the things we talked about was, man, I just knew that I wanted to putt with the Wizard. I was excited about the Wizard. I'm excited about the puns we can make with the Wizard and all of that. And we actually, for our Birdie Fam event that's happening in March, we're going to try to make sure that we have Wizards inside of the player pack for them, because when I felt these plastics, I was like, I really, really like this plastic, but there's one slight modification to one of them that I really want to make. And they were like, let's do it. Let's make that. And in fact, in just having a conversation with them, we're literally trying to come up with our own plastic blend that is going to be available not only as a great putting option for me, but a great thrower for lots of you if, let's say, you may not even prefer a more firm putter. And that's the excitement and awesomeness that is awaiting for us at Gateway. So I'm super pumped to be in the conversation with them and having that and helping bring something to the market that I'm not necessarily sure exists out there right now. Hopefully in the next month or two, we'll be able to see at least a prototype for that, get the teasers out there, get you guys hyped about it, and give you the opportunity to join the Zarg gang. So I want to thank Mason and the team at Gateway for sending out all of these Wizards to me. Honestly, guys, like, it has been so fun finding a new putter, getting to know it, getting to love it. And it's actually, I feel like I'm seeing the results right off the bat. This is dropping on a Tuesday, and this is also the same week that you're going to see Foundation All-Stars happening. And I'll just say, end up in a putting competition, and my Wizards went undefeated, so kind of interesting. I want to say thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for checking out this video. Thanks to everyone that was in the video for giving their opinion and feel on it. It can always be intimidating knowing that there's thousands of people who are going to be watching, but thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Please make it fantastic for someone else too. But for now, we're going to leave you with the birdie.